Welcome back to Traveler's Proc. Um, I'm very happy to have PrettyPriMe, the best Vulcan, and one of the most positive Smite players that's ever played in the Smite Pro League. Thanks for coming on and thanks for spending time with us.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. An honor to be here.
Awesome. Um, this week, we are a little earlier than normal, but I have to go to a wedding later on today, and then Prime is also in a different time zone, so it actually worked out perfectly this week for us. So thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, should be a good ep. I think, unless you have anything else, we could just get right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. So normally, Prime at the start of it, we just kind of ask like pretty basic questions, like what got you into Smite? What other like games maybe did you play before you got into Smite, or like other influences in gaming or competitive gaming in general?
Okay. Yeah, okay. Sounds good though. What should I should answer it right now though.
Yeah.
Okay. What got me into Smite was probably I should probably start from before that. I played I'm pretty old. Probably the oldest. I was the oldest person when I played, and that was 5 years ago. So what am I? I'm like 34-ish. Pretty sure.
You're not that much older than everybody.
No, a little bit older.
Yeah,
The old guard is pretty old at this point.
yeah. We got some people over 30 for sure.
Yeah, we got a
But
couple. I'm almost there.
Mhm.
yeah, but I played Dota 1 back when that came out, and a lot of StarCraft when I was young. Against my brother, and he always beat me because he is 8 years older than me, so it was a little bit unfair. I beat him once when I was like 10 though, because
Nice.
he was really hungover, and he played horribly, and I won, and I wasn't that old, so I didn't understand, but it was great for me. But yeah, I played a lot of. I think first game I really tried to be. I was pretty good at Heroes of New Earth, if you guys know what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I played that quite a bit. But then that game kind of died out, and then Dota 2 came out, and that was kind of boring. And then I kind of just transitioned to StarCraft 2, which is a great game, by the way. It just takes a lot of effort.
That's pretty crazy. I feel like StarCraft is such a. I never really played it a ton, but my perception of it, I feel like it was always like that's a really complex game to start playing when you're like 10 years old. Like that's pretty crazy to me.
Well, the first one,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but it wasn't. There wasn't that much like stuff online. Like we had a modem and stuff, So
Yeah.
people weren't that good because there wasn't that much information about how to become better. Like now,
Yeah.
everybody is pretty damn good at everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like every single game, like the floor level of people's player skill is so much higher now than it was like back even when I played when I was younger and so many different games. Like I used to play Magic the Gathering all the time, and I'd go to the card shop and I just like make my own deck, and I'd always do really well. And like nowadays, everybody that goes there has like a deck that they've seen online, and it's just like really good decks that you play against. And like I don't know, it's crazy that everybody's just so good at everything now.
Yeah, true. Is it one of those like you go there and like play drafts? By the way.
Yeah, I've done that, but you could also go and play constructed. I've played drafts and constructed. Like I used to do that all the time with both my brothers when I was younger. It was so
Yeah,
much fun.
I've never done it though, but it sounds cool.
You play
But
Magic a good bit.
me, I played it. I played it online. I played it a little bit when I was young, but mainly played it
Gotcha.
online. Kind of easy to get the cards online, I think, compared to otherwise.
Yeah, one
Mhm.
hundred percent. A lot cheaper to play online than it is. Well, if you play a Magic Arena, it's a lot cheaper. If you play
Oh, the other one.
MTGO, it's still a lot. But yeah,
Is that the one where you have to own the cards anyway, or something like that?
you don't have to own the cards. Well, you have to own the cards on the MTGO client, but you have to buy the cards, and they're like the same price as it is in person to buy the cards on MTGO.
That sounds like getting the card, but not really getting the card.
Yeah, I feel like that's not as satisfying.
Yeah,
No.
exactly.
Uh,
Wait, what class? What faction did you play in StarCraft the most when you played?
Terran
Nice.
back then. I only really played Terran, I think. It was very satisfying.
I think that's what I played too. I played a little of StarCraft 2. I didn't play any of StarCraft 1, but I played StarCraft 2. I was so bad though.
I was tricky though. It's
It
like
is.
I guess my brother was kind of good age when it came out, but we had like, did you have like those? You had like a cable so you can play between two people back in
Hmm.
played like Warcraft 2 and stuff as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I never had that actually. The one cable that I had though, I don't know if did you ever play Game Boy or no?
Yeah.
Dude, the original Game Boy, I'd always play and trade with my brothers like Silver and Gold. Did you play any Pokemon, Mike, growing up or no?
No, I never played Pokemon.
Did you play any Pokemon Prime, or were you too
Yeah.
old for that by that time?
No, I played the blue one, but
Nice.
yeah, I had a Game Boy. Nobody like there was like one guy in our entire like when I grew up that had a cable. Though. It was you didn't get a hold of that cable very easily.
That's awesome.
It's a high demand cable right there, huh?
That was rough.
So how'd you find Smite from Dota 2?
Uh, well, I guess we were. I don't know. I mean, when you're like bored and you're just looking for games, and then it was on Twitch. It was. I don't know what land that was because it was before the launch tournament. Uh,
Was it the land that like Young Bay and Trixtank and Cubo Fred won? Oh, so no, you said it was
no.
before that one?
It was before that one. It was
What
streamed on Twitch.
was it PAX maybe? Was it when Pon Pon and Zap won?
It could have, but I don't actually know. Who else was in the team?
It was Pom Pom, Zapman. Was Shadow Q on their team or was that a different team? I don't even know. Mike would probably not know either, to be honest. But yeah,
God, I got no
all I
idea.
can tell you is that Pon Pon and Zap were on that team that won PAX. And it was the guy. What was that guy's name? Zap lived with the other guy, a support player. I forgot that guy's name though.
Dare?
No, it wasn't Dare. It was like, oh man, I don't know his name. But yeah,
You lived with him?
he lived with him. Yeah, and he was a support player on that team. Actually, I can't. I don't know his name.
Dare, Nah, Lasses,
No,
Kret.
no.
I don't know who else he lived with.
Yeah. So you basically just saw a tournament on on Twitch, and then you were like, "This looks pretty cool," and you tried it out.
Yeah, well, it was. Well, it's like the group of my Swedish friends, right? Because I lived in Sweden back then, and I don't think we tried it out right away. But then it was at some point, it was like my birthday, very close, and then you get the birthday card, which is when you get to force everybody to play the game of your choice, and that's how we got into it.
So
So then all of them played Smite.
So is your choice to play Smite on your birthday?
I don't think I played it exactly on my birthday, but yeah, pretty
Around
much.
it? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you play mid right away?
I think so. Yeah. It was back when you had like meditation and stuff all the time because it was pretty bad. But I think I played mid right away. I was pretty bad though for a while. Well, it worked.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It wasn't that bad. I was like horrible at the gameplay, but it works. They work very similar, all the moves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like, it's like League. I played quite a bit of League as well.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Did your friend group keep playing with you for a bit, or did you just keep going on your own?
No, I played with my friends. Actually, played for a very long time, and then I kind of stopped playing with them a little bit because then you had to do casuals, and people were kind of bad.
Mm-hmm.
I think I stopped. I played with them still, right? But they played quite a lot. People played like all the time back then, and feel like I wanted to get better. It didn't really get me much better when I just played with all my bullets. All
Did
the time, at
you
least.
watch? Because it wasn't SPL back then, right? It was like the weekly tournaments, I think. Did you like continue watching the competitive scene after the like first initial tournament that you watched? Like, were you trying to get better in rank just because you like to get better, or were you trying to like play competitively?
I never really tried. I think I only watched the launch tournament back then. I think that's the only thing. But that's like I started playing in September, so I guess the launch tournament wasn't that far in. I don't
Oh,
really
no.
remember those.
For me, I remember the first time I saw you like playing Smite as you started streaming. Like
Oh yeah,
back all the and you would play Vulcan like almost every other game. Vulcan and I think you played a lot of Zhong as well, right? Back then, I think that's what I remember. I had Vulcan and Zhong a bunch of games, and I'd watch you all the time, and I was like, "Dang, this guy is insane at Vulcan." And I think it was before you got on, or maybe it was after, but at least before my knowledge that you were on any team with like, because it was before the qualifier thing for season 1 Worlds. I remember you started streaming, right? Or am I getting it mixed up?
no, I think I streamed because I don't remember how. I started streaming because one of my friends wanted to start streaming, so we had like a bet on how it would go. Uh, and he was streaming, and I was streaming, and that's why I started streaming. But I started streaming pretty a long time before the launch tournament. I think I got picked up because I was streaming, maybe because they watched my stream. I think.
That's
It
awesome.
was the team that picked you up. Was it you guys were you were Kagakila at one point, right? What were you before that? Was it that team that picked you up?
I it's the yeah. Well, I got asked by another team, but then I overslept all the time, so I didn't really make it there. Which was probably good because I don't think that team would not have gone very far. But we were called. Were we called Aquila? We were called Agilitas once,
Oh
and
yeah,
then maybe we were Aquila. We were called Aquila, right? We were Agilitas first, then we were called Aquila. I think.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. I completely forgot about that. Oh my gosh.
And then you guys for the it was the first like Smite event in Europe, I think, right? That was played, and then you guys had to qualify. Were you guys in the first season SPL? I can't even remember. Or did you qualify to Worlds like in an open bracket thing? I don't remember exactly how it went. That's why I wanted to ask you.
Uh, we weren't. I don't, we were not in SPL, I think, because how I don't even remember how it worked out. Was there an SPL? I think there was.
Yes, season 1 SPL, because I was in season 1 SPL in NA, and
Okay.
I remember we had the NA like regionals, or yeah, NA regionals they called it, and we played it at the smaller room in what's that place called? The where you won Worlds at, Mike? What's that venue?
Um.
The Cog Energy Center, right? Is that or
Oh,
no?
you played it in Cobb, just in a
Cobb,
smaller room.
yeah, yeah. We
On the
played.
back area.
Yeah, we played in the Cobb ballroom area. Like, if you go to the
Oh
side,
yeah,
that's where the
yeah.
first Smite regionals was. So that's where I played. And then I think I can't remember if the EU tournament was before or after, but I know that's like one of Hindu Man's first tournaments that he casted at, from my memory. And then I remember you guys were there, and you weren't an SPL team, and everybody thought you guys were pretty good, but no one thought you were gonna win. And that's when you guys played. You guys played the Kali Afro, right? It was your team that played that, or no? Or am I
I
thinking
think
of a different?
I don't I think Conf played. Conf was our solo lane in Comfrey, and he
Yeah,
mainly played healers. And then yeah, Rep played Kali and got like a quarter or something when we won.
That was with like 3 Phoenixes down, right? Wasn't that the original like
Yeah,
setting?
it's when it was like the first set, right?
yeah. It was
Yeah, it was the first set.
Yeah.
you're
C9,
against.
right?
Yeah, because you're against Young Bay and Emilito. I remember because I remember watching that set because I used to play ranked with Emilito all the time in Young Bay. And I remember I was watching them, and they lost to you guys like when they had all 3 Phoenixes down.
Oh,
That was actually crazy.
That was the only time that happened for like I feel like for like 3 or
forever.
4 years, that was the only team that ever like made that comeback.
Yeah, they had it's when they changed the Ares push on like the flame, so it pushed minions, right? Otherwise, I think we would have lost. It's the because Murder was like, oh, well, we were basically almost dead, and because he had got pushback on it, we didn't lose, which was pretty nice.
Wait, Ares didn't used to have that. The
Yeah, he
pushback.
didn't. He did
No, no.
not.
It was like
That's
the
crazy.
patch before.
Dude, that pushback is so OP. Like even today, I feel like Ares pressure is so good because of it. I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Go ahead, Prime. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure we came in from the SEC, by the way. Like the SEC is the bottom, well, the lowest, right? Think we were top seed in the SEC, maybe, because we were kind of not very good until we swapped out Cinder, our jungler, and then we became pretty good. Before that, we were not very good.
Yeah,
He's gonna make another appearance on our roster. That's why I had to mention.
we do want to mention that for sure. When you guys went to, so you qualified into Season 1 Worlds, do you remember who your first round matchup was?
I don't. Wait. I can barely remember much except the finals. I feel like we beat.
Yeah, I remember the semis and the finals because in the
We
semis,
stopped the EU team, right? SK.
yeah, because it was EU and NA in the semis, like both regions like playing each other. I remember that.
Yeah. Well, then it must have been. It's probably China though, right?
Probably.
Oh,
Or something like that.
was it only 4 SPL teams total?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow! Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 SPL teams from each region. Yeah, because it was COG Prime, and then it was
Yeah.
And Cog Agilitas.
yeah.
That's fine. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I felt like I was trying to remember it. I felt like I was leaving someone out, so I guess not. So for Season 1 Worlds, like how confident did you guys go into that? Because that's a pretty crazy run back then. Like it also sounds like you pretty recently made a roster change, then qualified with the roster change, and you're like this, I guess, amateur team at the time. I don't know how you want to describe it.
Perhaps good word. I think that's good description. But I was pretty confident when we went there because I think most regions probably think they're superior, and we won the EU one, so we were pretty confident.
Mhm.
And then we went there and we scrimmed, and we got like so stomped, and we went like 21-1 against SK or something in scrims. And then I think like the last day, Conf stopped playing healers like altogether, which was his only thing before that. He had to like play only Osiris and Herc at LAN because we got so destroyed.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, why did you just stop? But that makes sense. Do you remember who you were scrimming? Was it just SK?
We only scrimmed SK. That's when you had computers in the hotel, which was pretty sweet.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Pretty smelly, but pretty nice.
I remember. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just remember we were like, well, we were an amateur team, and like, I feel like we were there, and when we scrimmed so much, and like it was kind of stressful because we weren't really used to it, and like in the middle of a scrim when we were losing like for the 9th game in a row, like Conf just breaks apart like mid game. Like, oh no, which was like rough, but I don't know. He recovered, but he had a very good lap considering he never played any of the tanks before that.
Yeah, I wonder. You guys actually, just thinking back to it, is kind of crazy. You guys had a bunch of like very iconic like firsts, I guess, in Smite. Like the big one, obviously, being like the triple Phoenix down comeback. But I also remember because for me, Season 1 Worlds was when I just started getting into Smite. Like I'd maybe played for like a few weeks before that, and I had watched it here and there. And then I remember for Season 1 Worlds, like I feel like it probably is like a lot of region bias, but I remember going into the finals, everybody like kind of hyped up like COG as the favorites and stuff like that. And then I remember you guys going down 2-0. And then was it Ares the first game, Aurora, do you remember as well?
And
You guys
the
like
third game, yeah, you guys
the
picked
third
Ares
yeah, the first
Athena.
game they won, but yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I remember it was funny that you were talking about how Comfrey only played healers. I remember he played Osiris in the finals, and with the Ares and Athena, and he got like a really big Osiris tether, and I think he forced a bunch of beads out with like Athena ult on him, and then Athena forced the rest of the beads, and you got like a 3-man Ares ult like at FG. I remember, and you guys just wiped them, and that combo was so disgusting. I remember the Ares Athena. I loved that combo so much.
Rep played Athena? I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he did. I am really bad at remembering the games when I play them. Actually, I
Oh,
get
really?
like, uh, yeah. I think the main thing I remember is like I remember the moments when I'm like I seriously fucked up, and I'm like,
I remember those two way too much.
Yeah. I feel like it's hard to forget those.
It's like
They
the
just stick with you.
worst feeling.
like every time you're sitting there, it's like when it sinks in that you're probably just lost. It's like, fuck. Oh, we're not allowed to swear, by the way, since we're on Spotify.
No, you
No,
can say what you
Ah,
want.
you're good to say whatever you want.
Yeah, go ahead,
no,
Aurora.
did we play? Oh, yeah, cool.
No, I interrupted him. I didn't mean to interrupt him. You're good.
Is there any like what is there anything else you remember just from that like tournament? Like not even in the games, just from being there, like the scrim rooms. Were there anything that stuck out to you? Like any funny moments or anything that was cool that you're like, what the heck? This is pretty cool. Anything like that or no?
I don't know if I can remember. There was a lot of people there compared to before. We were in the EU land. The EU land was actually incredibly good because I guess it was the only EU land. It was also my first land, so I was probably very biased in how great it was. But the NA land, I remember we were down 2-0, and the crowd was a little bit NA biased. Okay,
It was very NA biased.
They were very biased. For sure.
but we started making like a comeback, and they just keep like did. We got some shares after a while on a 2-2, and then there was this little kid that was very excited for us to make a comeback in like the front row. I
That was
guess
your number one fan.
yeah, he was very pumped, but I don't remember much else from the land actually.
What about the
We
U?
were
What about the U land?
it's the EU land. That was I was so chill though, because most people, I feel like most people there you kind of knew. I guess maybe not that good back then, but it was like a tiny studio as well where you went to scrim, and it was first land as well. I just remember mainly you went back to the hotel, and then there was like always shots up on the roof every night, I think,
That's awesome.
which was people just walking up having shots on the roof. Celebrating. I celebrated with Twig because he was the other mid laner that made it, right? He was the SK mid laner.
Oh my god, yeah, he was mid back then.
And then he had this long spiel about how we were much better than everybody else when we were drinking on the roof.
That sounds like Ben.
So was that the first time you met him? Twig?
Yeah.
Nice. And then it was the first time you met like a lot of the SPL player or just Smite players that you probably saw in ranked as well, right?
Yeah, I didn't meet anybody before that. First land, met the entire team, and Nate. It was also the team though. Oh yeah, we had 2 coaches, so we met Bird and captain coach.
You had 2 coaches? I didn't even know that.
I remember that. Do you have who was the other coach that wasn't captain coach? He lived in Sweden, right? But he was from the States. Am I correct on that?
I think one of his parents was from the States. I think he might have been a double citizen or something. I'm not sure. But it was Bird. He went on to play. He won like 2 Paladins Worlds or something like that.
Yeah, I remember he was a really nice guy when I talked to him. At least
Yeah,
it seemed like
he was a pretty good coach too. Let's say he was the better coach.
Oh, little friendly rivalry. That's kind of crazy. Was coaching common back then? Like a legitimate coach? Like I know some teams like had people who like were listed as coaches but weren't really coaches. Like did they sit on all of your guys like scrims and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think both of them probably sat in on most scripts, to be honest. I guess nobody, like, there wasn't a salary thing back then, though, really.
Right. Yeah.
I guess we all got a little bit, I think. And they got some. They got a cut of the winnings, too, I think. So
Oh, okay. Yeah.
everybody split it. But that's when you had, like, a really low salary and the orgs didn't really take anything.
Yeah, it was mostly just prizing. Like you didn't really get like a monthly paycheck or anything like that. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
hope you do well at the tournaments, sort of thing.
Monthly paycheck is gotta be. I had that for 1 year. That was pretty nice.
Hmm.
Like season 5, right? Then
Yeah,
we got
that's right.
a lot of months.
That was the first season that they required it, I think, from all the orgs. I remember.
Yeah.
Did,
Yeah, because I remember before that, it'd be like some teams were lucky enough to get like a sponsor, an org that did give them like some, and then some were not at all. It was just all over the place.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I don't really understand when people. Well, a lot of people want, like, people that watch wants there to be orgs in Smite, but I feel like when you have to deal with the orgs,
Yes.
many of the orgs are just such a pain. And
And
Yes.
everything sounds so much better than it really is once you like understand how it is to deal with them. Like, I think it also depends. Like, I was lucky enough to play for some like pretty good orgs, but it's kind of the lottery sometimes. Like, there's definitely plenty of teams and players that are not that lucky.
Yeah, like we had Obey. Obey was great, and then we had the cog guy was nice. I think he only picked us up because he wanted to piss off Hyres. Is what he said. Because he had 3 of the 4 teams in like the semis, which I don't think they like.
Yeah,
But
that's a little troll for sure.
like we talked to like renegades or something before we got Obey as well, and this was just shade all over, man.
Yeah.
Just feel like they wanted to use me. That's what I felt.
Yeah, that's messed up. There's so many orgs that are like that, just
Yeah.
in every game, not just Smite. I feel like because I've talked to my brother about orgs as well, like, and it's so hard. Like like Mike said, they just sound so much better than they really are for the most part. Like 90% of the time.
But are they shady in League too? Because he is on, like, he's gonna be on big orgs now.
Yes, some of them have been in the past, at least from what I've heard, but I don't know which. Or yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I just know that all orgs are not the greatest.
Yeah.
This from what I've heard, and like even in League, even like a bigger game like that as well.
So after season 1 Worlds, I don't know how well you remember season 2. That's kind of where my memory kicks in a little bit, just because I started to like actually play a lot more. I remember you guys had like a pretty up and down season 2, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think you missed the first LAN and then like qualified for summer or something. You guys role swapped Nate at some point, which
Oh
like
yeah.
it always sounds so crazy looking back at it. A little Ataraxia solo gameplay, but yeah, like what do you remember of that season and kind of trying to like continue getting better after making Worlds finals like that?
We had I don't know, this was a weird year. Like the was a bit of a Cinderella story because I think we declined pretty quickly right after Worlds. We got to do some fun things though. We went to like Gamescom in Germany and played against SK, and then we also went to, what is it called? A Polish place where we was like where we got sapped while playing Smite.
Oh,
I
I know what
remember
you're talking
that.
about. Oh my gosh.
Was that against? Did you play against Cog Red in that thing or no?
No, we played against like Sun Touch and Cringe Crew. I think we played against.
Cringe Crew. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I think I just don't
Dude, that's
remember
gonna
what
bother
that
me
LAN.
for the rest of the day if I don't remember the name of that. Oh my gosh.
They've done it in like many games as well, I think. But you got like sapped, and then stuff flew in your face all the time. You started spitting. That was pretty cool.
Oh,
But now you go, Robert.
I wanted to ask you. Sorry, rewind it back to season. What did all your friends think that you played with in Smite? I wanted to ask you about that. I completely forgot. Like
Oh,
all the friends you played with, like that got into Smite, were they like, "What the heck? You're playing in like Worlds or when you went to the EU land, what they all say were like, "Oh, that's pretty cool," or what they think.
I was pretty. I think they were pretty excited. My family is very supportive. Uh, I remember my brother was texting me a lot while I was playing. I remember that. But I can't, like, they still played back then. All my friends, I think, when I went to Worlds, so they were very pumped. I think they all watched it as well. The first couple of times.
That's awesome.
Yeah, my dad still watches this, and he's well, maybe my mom too, but he's a bit somebody. He's not that technological, so somebody else has to put it on, like find it for him, so he can watch it.
That sounds about right. That's kind of funny. That's my parents. Like they knew what I did, but they never like. I would tell them like how to watch it. I'm like, yeah, you just like go to Twitch, you just watch the stream if you want to, and they could never figure it out. And it was like season 4 Worlds. My cousins would like watch me, and they contacted them. And like the only way my parents could see it is like they went to my cousin's house to go watch it on their TV because they had no idea what to do. They know now, but it was pretty funny back then. By the way, I'm still trying. It's just gonna drive me crazy if I don't find the name of that like Polish event or whatever. It's actually bothering me so much because I remember the Cog Red or like I don't know if they were Cog Red or TSM back then, but I've like heard stories about that because they just messed with you when you played.
Was it the Omen Challenge? Is that what they called it?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
It
I
was.
I just
remember.
scared the fuck out of my cat. By the way, at my desk, he woke up and just bolted out. That's on me. But oh my god,
I remember. Yeah.
God, that's so cool.
Okay, so back to the Omen Challenge. And sorry for rewinding it, but I wanted to ask you. So you went there with, was it everybody from the Worlds team, or did you guys have any roster changes by then when you went to the Omen Challenge? Do you remember?
No, we didn't have a roster change until Worlds. I think we changed for the last LAN. I think we changed out. Comfrey and Nate went back into ADC because it was kind of weird. He played solo, and I think he only played like Poseidon, Hades, and
He played a little bit of Sylvanas, I remember too, right?
oh yeah, he did that. And Conf only played Warriors and duo, and we were like one of those shady lanes that just ran at the enemy. We had to win like instantly. But no, it was pretty. I guess that's the only time I've been in Poland, so that was pretty nice. It's pretty nice when you get to go, I guess, different places. I
sure.
do love Staybridge is my favorite, but like sometimes you want something else.
Yeah, I think Staybridge kind of has like it's only fun because the people made it fun. But it is like definitely way rather be in another country or doing something else. It is a lot more entertaining. Is there so through season 2, it was really just those role swaps that you guys did, right? Did you actually like? Was there an actual like roster change like player wise? I don't remember back then.
No, we swapped Comfrey. We swapped him out for Brodus.
Oh,
so he
okay.
was our. I'm pretty sure he played solo because I think Nate swapped back. And then we had like a boot camp in Brussels. I would like to say.
Was that before regionals?
Yeah, it was before regionals, so we got to go there.
Did you guys have to deal with the? Because I know it happened in NA a lot. We were talking about it with Pern last week. Did you guys have the whole issue with DDoSes in season 2 fall? Do you remember that at all?
No, I don't remember it, but I think Fressy was like players getting DDoS, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I remember Fressy talking about it, but I played with him the next year. But me myself, no. But was there a lot of NA people that got DDoS through it?
Yeah, I feel like almost every team had it happen.
The top teams in NA, like I think DJ was saying, like Andy got DDoSed a lot, and Stir. And then there was like a couple other players that got because like a bunch of games in NA, the top teams or supposedly top teams lost games because they got DDoSed like in the middle of like a team fight or something, and then they lose the game. So then that's why they extended regionals from 4 teams to 6 teams because of all the losses. Yeah.
Okay. Pretty good by hires though. Bonus points.
Yeah. I mean, it made it turn out way more hype as well. So it was kind of, in the end, it ended up being a win for everybody. But it was pretty frustrating at the time for sure. So you guys went from. I'm sorry, God.
Well, were you in season 2, Mike? No.
Only so he quit Eager. Or he left Eager. Quit's a weird word. He
I
left
did quit
Eager.
Eager.
Yeah, I
not
guess,
wrong.
but yeah. But to me, quit is like the same as retiring. You know, like you didn't
Yeah.
retire, you just like left the team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he left Eager, and then I joined them like halfway through summer, and then I played from there on the end of season 2. We ended up losing to. Were they still SK back then? No, they were Fnatic, right? Twig's team. It was Twigs, Heroes, Reels, right?
Maniac.
Maniac and Badja, and we
Yeah.
lost to them. We lost to them like it was like the 5th place match, I guess technically, because it was like 2 from each region went plus 1 wild card. So we ended up finishing, I guess, 6th technically. But yeah, we're the last team to not make it.
Okay. I think we got kind of stomped. If I think we lost straight away. I'm not sure though. We lost to. What did I lose to?
Did you lose to
It
was
might
it
have
a
been
music
like.
team?
Oh, did I lose
You
to
remember
Cringe?
who I'm talking about? Were they Cringe Crew back then? Maybe
Yeah.
it was.
Did I lose to Suntouch though? It was either that or it was Variety Shadow Nightmare. But that they might have been C9. They were C9 before, kinda.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think because from EU it was the top 2 teams. Were they Paradigm back then? I don't remember what they were actually called. But it was it was like the Tricks, the Fred team, like
Yeah.
all those
Yeah,
boys,
yeah.
and then it was of course the
Energy.
Epsilon guys.
Or
Yeah.
Epsilon, yeah. I remember meeting you, I think, at that LAN the first time. Is that the first? I think that's the first time I met you. And I think we just said hi. I don't think we really talked that much. I think season 3, we talked a good amount. I remember at least at the regionals event. Or at least I remember I talked to Twig a bunch there, and I think I talked to you a little bit as well. But I think season 2, I think I remember seeing you around the studio because did they have both teams? No, they didn't. Did they have both NA and EU at the same time at the studio?
Yeah, the
Season
Yeah.
2? Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because I think I
Yeah.
remember meeting you there, but that's my first time I met you. But like I said, I watched your stream all the time. I remember back before. But I
Do
think
you
that was the
guys
first time I
remember
actually met you.
you
I
remember the
don't.
old studio for that regionals? Like there was the giant scrim room, and you had to like rent times to like get to scrim
Oh,
during
yeah.
regionals. You guys remember that?
It was super
Like,
cold all the time as
Yeah,
well.
it was freezing. You
Yeah.
filled your name out on like a spreadsheet to like reserve a time.
They had like huge beanbags though when you watched the games, right?
Mhm,
Those
Yeah.
two, that was great.
Yeah,
Shit to get
it
them
was
back.
also so funny because that was when you got to like hear each team trash talk each other, Because like back then,
Yeah.
like Freddy and Trix, like there were a couple guys like that in NA too. Like they would be yelling at you, if
Oh,
they
yeah.
start winning, they'd get hyped.
And Maniac, man, he's a
Oh, Maniac was so funny, man.
yeah.
Maniac was so funny. Oh my god.
That LAN wasn't he saying Omega or something over and over again?
Yeah, he was. He was like, "We're gonna get you." Like, I remember. I don't know if Omega would like admit to it. I'm pretty sure Omega got tilted because he got like 3 or 4 man ganked or something like that. I think it was like Badja. I think Badja Twig both ganked his lane for sure. It was at least like 2 other people. And they like group killed Omega, and then Maniac, like as loud as he could, yelled like "soloed!" Like that was a huge gank. And I'm pretty sure Omega got pissed, but I don't know if he would ever admit that. But it was pretty funny.
Did
What,
your team have any trash talkers on it, Prime, or no at that LAN?
Move. No, not
You
season.
guys
I
were
don't think.
pretty reserved. I feel
Yeah.
like.
I don't think we ever had. Well, we had Maniac later on, but
Mhm.
no trash talkers really at all.
You guys were always the calm, cool, collected bunch. I feel like.
Yeah.
That's true. I remember when I met you, Aurora, you said something about like Cabra TP thing, and I didn't give you full credit for it. This was probably like season 3, by the way, and I felt kind of bad because I said I didn't remember it, but then I'm like, I remember it. And it was, do you remember this, Aurora?
The Cabra TP thing?
Well, you played on EU something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were like Cabraca with TP all the time.
Yeah.
That was your thing.
I did a bunch of random stuff like that. I played so much Cabrakan back then. I remember, and I remember I used to play before I did it in season 3. I did it in season 2. I would queue with Kabam all the time, and I'd always play Cabrakan, and I'd always go like 3 start items with teleport, like back then as well. And it was so troll, and everybody's like, "What the heck are you doing?" And
Dude,
I
you
would always
loved that.
own.
You loved that. I remember, was it season 3? I remember like you'd go like Watchers, Sentinels, or it was like Watchers, Mark of the Vanguard, Swiftwing. Like every game you loved it.
Yeah,
And just turbo around the map.
I love Swiftwing, dude. That was a sick item.
Ooh.
So
I did.
oh god.
No, I had a Swiftwing land like when I was a Swiftwing. It went really bad though, but I was also the only one doing it, so it kind of made sense why it went so bad.
Yeah, I feel like Swiftwing was one of those things, like, because it just reminded me. That was season 3, right? Or
Yeah.
Swiftwing, or was that 4?
It was season 3, I think.
Oh,
I
it was
think.
one of the two.
Four.
Was
I
it
think.
4? Okay, 4.
Yeah, I remember like back then there were just stuff like that. Like
Yeah, it was
if
4.
you were one of the people who actually tried it, I feel like people wouldn't even think about it that much. It was like you would try it, and then if you lost the game, they'd be like, "Yep, I knew that was horrible. Like, I knew Swiftwing, I knew Swiftwing was trash. Why would you ever buy that?" But people never really tried it. Like they just made fun of you if you lost with it. I feel like back then everybody was pretty closed-minded.
It was so incredibly cozy to have it though. Like you skip boots, I think. You
It
bought a
feels
Swiftwing.
so good. Yeah, it felt so good.
That
So
item was great.
going into season 3 was kind of the first time you had big roster changes, right? Because it was only you and was it only you and Nate that stuck around? Because that's when you guys picked up Twig, right?
Yeah, we picked up Twig. It was only me and Nate, so me and Nate were gonna stick together.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know. That's maybe usually how it goes. And then we wanted Twig because, I think he had a pretty good lab, and he also got a lot of flack from his team, so he was gettable. I think.
Twig getting scapegoated? That doesn't sound right.
So we wanted Twig, and then I guess we kind of went step by step because we got Twig, and then we tried to figure out a solo later. And Variety also had a very good LAN at regionals, like season 2. I think they didn't make it through though, but it had a very good LAN.
Was that was that the Ymir tier only variety?
He was pretty
I
much
remember
that.
him
Yeah,
playing Ymir all the time, and he would own on it. I remember that.
he would always self-wall himself and stand there. Like,
Oh, that's a little. That happens, you know. That's unlucky.
no, like he just walls himself up and he just blocks the other guy out and he stands there.
Oh, you mean on purpose? I thought
Like
you meant
in a good wall, a good wall.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant the one where you're like running, you like put it in front of yourself, and then you're just dead.
No, that's me.
No, and then we couldn't find a support because it was pretty hard, and we picked up Cinder again.
How did that go?
Went absolutely horrible for a while, but
because you guys had a really bad start, right? Weren't you like you were like 1-8 or something, and then you ended up you swapped out. It was Cindered for Frezzy, right?
Yeah.
And that's run to Sweden you guys had was crazy. Like, you won every single game once you made the swap, basically, right?
Yeah, I think we won. We won every single game. I think it was. We should have made changes a lot early, but Harry wanted to make changes because, well, it wasn't really going too well, and he knew Frezzy because he played with Frezzy before, and then we barely got to Sweden, which was very very nice. I just moved. I moved countries back then, so I was kind of busy.
But you were moving in the middle of the split, you're saying?
Yeah. I moved from Scotland to Romania in the middle of the split.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then you grew up in Sweden, right? That's where you lived when you were younger.
Yeah, I lived in Sweden until season 1 Smite. Season 2. Wait a minute. Season 2.
Nice. So you got to go back for that LAN, so that must have been really cool, right? Did you know the area?
Oh yeah, my family came down for the LAN.
Oh, that's awesome.
They live we live like, I guess we were in like I don't actually know. I'm not that good at the southern Sweden, but I think we were like somewhere in the middle bottom of Sweden, and we lived like pretty much at the top. So they they all went down Kari.
That's awesome.
Got some hotels going.
That area was cool though. Were you ever in that area before? Or was that like your first time? And was it? I'll probably say it wrong. It was like Ping, right?
Yeah, Jönköping.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've never been down there before. Like I mainly stayed up north, where I'm from. So that was pretty cool. Also, there was other games there, which was pretty cool. Well, there was like a CS stage right next to it,
Yeah, I remember that.
and they were pretty hype.
Yeah, that was they had weren't there a lot of the like really popular teams at that event. I remember like I think was it Fnatic that was there, and like when they played, I remember like that entire area was just packed with people. Like it was like people were like all the way back, like into like bleeding over into the other like halls, like even into the Smite area a little bit. I remember it was like crazy for like a couple of those games, but that was actually.
I think that was the Olafmeister Fnatic, right? Weren't they? They were crazy back then. I'm pretty sure.
Was it Fnatic or was it ninjas in pajamas?
It might have been, yeah.
Oh, it might have been. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Fnatic or
don't
it
know,
was
though.
one of them. It was one of
They're
them for
both-
sure.
They're both Swedish teams, at least, right? I think ninjas
Yeah.
pajamas is usually all Swedish. I don't know about.
All I know is I didn't qualify, and whenever you would like listen to the death segment, like between Smite games, it would be like deafening, like how loud it was, because I guess at the end of the round, like they would just go crazy every time.
Yeah. They have like the sound goes off every time the bomb goes off. I think flames on stage and stuff. It was very very hype.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That was my
Smite
first
had-
time. Go ahead, Prime. Sorry.
Well, Smite had the tower sound thing. I don't know if they have that anymore. But when we played it like Cobb and like a tower went down, it was like.
Yeah,
Oh.
I remember that. Do they have that still? I don't remember if they did that.
They had it. Remember at season 6 Worlds, they had it, and that's when it was so loud that it would go through everybody's headset. Like it was like even louder. Remember? Do you remember season 6? It was like the loudest it ever was at any of the events, and it was like Fire Giant died, and you couldn't hear anyone talk for 5 seconds. Like after FG died, like season 6 Worlds. Do you remember
I
that?
feel like, no, I feel like that's one of those things. Like whenever I'm on stage, I feel like I can just block everything out.
Yeah.
And normally I'm like one of the people talking more, so maybe I never noticed it because like I hear the sound, but I'm still talking. Probably nobody else, really nobody could understand what I'm saying, but I'm still talking. Like, no, I don't remember that. That's pretty funny though.
But yeah, I remember I played season 3, and they still had it at Cobb as well. But I don't remember if they had it this past year. I'm sure they had something. When the towers died in Fire Giant. Did you hear the story or what people were doing at this past Worlds Prime? It was in our set when I played against Mike. Everybody was cheering like crazy for like every single jungle camp kill. Even like when someone killed back camps and speed buff, and was that game 1 or game 2? Do you remember?
I think game 2.
Yeah, it was game 2, and we were all like, "Are they on gold? Are they on gold?" And like it was because everybody was cheering for every single buff camp. It was actually the craziest thing ever. And my team we always thought they were on pyro or gold or like fire because everybody was cheering for like blue buff and like back camps and like even like the chalice kills. It was so troll.
I think that was the first time the crowd like actually had an impact on me whatsoever, and it wasn't like tilting or exciting. I was just confused. Like I was just really confused. I had no idea what was going on. That was such a weird feeling. I wanted to ask you a little bit about it, just because season 3 is kind of the first split you played with Twig, and I've gotten like, of course, when I like played with Twig for a bit, I asked him a little bit about like those other teams, and I was just curious about like Nate and Twig as teammates because you played with both of them for a good amount of time. Obviously, Nate much longer, or Ataraxia, and I was just kind of curious like what it was about those players that you felt like you enjoyed playing with so much.
I played with Nate. Yeah, I played with Nate since I played with Nate every year I played actually 1 to 5. And for Twig 3 to 5. But I don't know. Nate is just a very good teammate. I guess he likes to argue a lot though.
That's
so
good though.
Kinda does Twig.
Twig loves arguing for sure.
Uh,
I think it's in a good way though. Like I can't speak to Nate, but Ben was always very like he wouldn't like argue to like get people mad or to he was like arguing to like learn. You know, it's like a different intent about it.
I think Twig was pretty okay with being wrong when he argued.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
he could start something and you could like persuade him. Most people kind of just keep on going on their point a little bit, I guess.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Nate was just a really good. I don't know. Nate is just a really good friend, to be honest. And he was good in Smite. But back then, I don't even know if you had like I felt like Smite wise in like season in the earlier season I had like so little interaction with with my ADC until like really late in the game. So like Smite gameplay wise, like he was solid. He was great in comps to be also. Uh, and well, a great friend. And Twig and I, well, he was younger, I was mid, so
Hmm.
season 3, maybe not all the way to 5, but you kind of did most things together all the time, so kind of had to work pretty good with your jungler, and you know he likes to argue. I don't know if I don't really know if I'm not really an arguer, but he's kind of funny though, and he does his own thing all the time.
Hmm.
And he's kind of unselfish, and he's okay with not like looking like trash, which is I think is pretty important depending on how the game has to be played,
Yeah.
I feel
which
like
I
it's a
think
good
is
quality.
pretty good. Yeah, it's like you can being willing to, well, I guess look bad if in order for your team to do better is a good quality. I guess most people probably have that in some degree, but
Mm-mm. Nope.
no.
Most people,
Definitely
I would
not.
definitely say not
Definitely
most
not.
people.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe
I
not.
think it's like more understood. Like I think back then, especially for a player like Twig, people were definitely a lot more critical of them. Where it'd be like, oh, this guy, like, what was that play? He's just dying, and they don't. I think Aurora had said it best. Was like they would just see somebody die at the start of the fight and be like, wow, that person inted, but they wouldn't think about what happened after. Like it could have led to a really good fight for their team, but everybody like the instant reaction is like, what are they doing? And I think that sort of thought process doesn't really stick around as much now. And it's like there are some players around the league that just like have that reputation of like they'll do the dirty work or they'll like, you know, they'll be the engager or whatever you want to call it. Um but yeah, people will always love KDA watching for sure. Like people always like stare at your little box score and like if it's good, you're good. If it's bad, you're bad.
I think one of the most tragic thing is when somebody ends the game with 0 deaths, and it's like, did he even try though?
I hate it. I hate it.
It's when
You,
you
you,
see,
Yeah.
you know, Twig and I used to. Did Twig get that from you? That
I don't know.
oh, dude, he would if we ever this the first time I played with him was season 6. Okay, and it didn't matter if it was an SPL game, if it was a scrim. It literally didn't matter. If we won the game and he saw someone on the other team and at 0 deaths, it like set this like fire in him. Like he was like genuinely annoyed. He was like, I don't want to play this team. Like this guy, he's not trying to win. 0 deaths at the end of a loss. He's like, he's not trying. He doesn't care. And he would like go off on a tangent. He's not wrong, but it was so funny.
It is really hard to die 0 times if you're losing, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people Paul used to do it quite a bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
Paul
Like,
is the biggest offender. He's Paul definitely does not play to that extent anymore for sure. But it was kind of criminal back then at times for sure.
like the guy is a beast though, but sometimes he has like
Yeah.
had like kind of janky builds, and he died 0 times. It's like, what?
The biggest one that
Almost
annoyed
the point.
Twig that I remember is I think there was a game when they were SK. We played them in the regular season, and Paul built like Blackthorn breastplate AMC, and he died 0 times. He died 0 times the whole game, and it wasn't like like you just couldn't get to him. You know, like he was just positioning in a spot where like you couldn't touch him if you wanted to. And I remember Twig got so pissed after the game. I was like, I'm fine with it. Like, if he wants to build tanky, I'm happy, you know?
Yeah. I remember one game was, I don't really remember much specifics, but I was like very close to not dying, which was kind of criminal back then. So I had to like hard in because everybody else died in my team. So you leg it in to die, and everybody was like, "Yeah, good job."
That's awesome.
That's funny. Something we were talking about yesterday that we couldn't quite remember is we wanted to ask you when Hazer had gotten involved with the team. Was that the end of season 3 or was that season 4?
No, he got involved after. This is gonna tricky because there was 2 lands to qualify to Worlds, and I think he got involved after the second one. We were actually qualified because he was on Rival the first
You
land.
were right, Mike. Yeah,
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's why, because it was the group stages, right? Like we played a regular season, then a group stage, then regionals, then Worlds. We had
Was
like
that-
4 things.
Is that when you were? No. Who was screaming the cannon, baby? Wasn't that you, Mike?
No, that was me. That was at regionals. Yeah,
Yeah. That was the most. That was great. That was great.
That was a good time.
But he was on Rival, and Nate really liked him.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we
Did you
didn't
guys
have
have
any
a coach at that time?
No, we had no coach before that.
Okay.
So we picked him up after the second one. Did you guys also have to go to both lands, by the way?
Yeah. We played.
Yeah,
That was when I played Erlang Raw. Was at the group stage land. You remember that combo? The Erlang pin into the Raw ult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the group
broken
stage
Erlang
land.
cripple, man.
And
That
then
was so OP.
the super regionals is when we played the Zeus Sylvanas combo in mid.
Okay.
Yeah,
I played Roger. That's what I remember.
nice.
That was the first year of Raijin, right? That god was so broken.
He was very good.
He
He
was
was
so broken.
OP.
The Roger didn't proc if you Aegis, so you just stayed on them.
That is
you remember that?
crazy. Yeah, I remember that actually. I hated that actually. He was just the most annoying character to play against as a tank player, as like a support. Like he was like one of the first mages. He was kind of like Poseidon, where he could just kill you by himself. But then he also had a jump, so he was like safer than Poseidon. It felt like so he's just like you walk into him in the jungle, he rises you, ults you, boom, 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 and then he just ones you, and you're like, what the heck am I supposed to do to this guy? But I hate that character when he's good. From a support
Same.
POV, he is just the worst.
Can't stand him.
Is it the spam taunt? Whatever it is when he just kills you.
It's just when all the damage he does. But yeah, he can also CC you as well. There's just everything about him. Like if your hunter is right there and he spam taunts you into his hunter, that feels just as bad. Or if he just straight up, he's like, I don't even need to taunt you. I'm just gonna go boom, 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 and kill you with my ult.
His poke is what pisses me off. Like, it feels so bad if like one of your teammates gets Raiju'd and then it bounces to you, and then he just ones me because I'm just a stupid tank sitting in front of him. Like, it feels so bad. But he was really cool. Like early on, like his ult was so cool. Like that was like the first ult like that. I feel like, wasn't it? Where you like he like went up and then you had like 3 new buttons. You know what I mean? Like it toggles.
Yeah.
I feel like that was so cool.
Yeah, the Roger thing was so criminal because like you put it on somebody and they either Aegis it and the Roger is still on them or they kind of die.
Yeah.
So whatever you do is like wrong. Also, the Roger could, I don't know if it happens to you guys, but the Roger could stay on the map sometimes. Like
it would like
hover
hover
an area.
right?
Yeah. And somebody walked in. I killed somebody at like a LAN with it. Like they walked into a random Roger in the woods.
They can't be doing that.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Do you remember?
It's crazy though. Sorry, that not a lot of mid players were even playing him. I feel like when he first came out, right? Like I don't remember it being like that popular for a while until maybe like around Worlds time. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
No, I think you're right.
I don't think it was that popular. It wasn't played at Worlds though, because the whole Or was he bad? Or was he not played?
I think it was the invade meta. Maybe they
Yeah,
nerfed him. They might have nerfed him by then. Who knows? But
he shouldn't
yeah,
be that awful in the invade meta, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I feel like he'd be good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember anyone playing him, which is crazy.
he probably did get nerfed because I think you're right. Like early on, I remember. I think in NA, I remember like Hurry playing him a little bit. I don't remember if Best did or not because I feel like you guys played more like more combos and stuff. But I
Yeah.
don't think Chaos really played him at all. And that was like the other like top team like enemy back then in NA at least. So I don't know. I feel it's so crazy to me. Like I feel like new gods were so polarizing back then. Like now, I feel like people do a pretty good job of like if a character comes out, everybody tries it and like sees how good they are. But like I remember Erlang is definitely the biggest offender to me. Like Erlang came out and
Everybody thought he was
everybody was
bad.
everybody's instant like, yeah, that god's trash. Like it's so bad, and
Dude,
he was just beyond broken.
the other god you weren't around for was Osiris. Everybody thought Osiris when he came out in season 1 was the worst character in Smite, like ever. And I remember Divios played it at Super Regionals and he just completely destroyed everybody with it. But yeah, that was like another character that everybody thought was just straight garbage, but it was actually like one of the strongest characters in the entire game.
Osiris passive and Osiris 3 are so broken. Just so broken. How well do you remember season 3 Worlds Prime?
Oh, Season 3 Worlds is probably... That's the most fun Worlds, if you ask me.
You love that
But
meta.
I think the meta was very fun, because we played... we played the qualifier things. I guess we... How many teams went to Worlds from... It was only 2 EU, 2 NA again?
Yeah, it was 2 EU and ended up being 4 NA because it was like the gauntlet stage. You got like 2 like wildcard teams or whatever you want to call it, and both of them were North American.
That's where
It
Mike
was
yelled,
Oh,
"You
damn.
sucks," remember?
Right.
Yeah, it was my team and then like Embera's team. I think it was like LG.
Oh,
Yeah.
I only remember the cannon, man. It's rough.
Yeah.
That was such a fun land, dude. That's just one of the that's like the best feeling. Like it's like such a good feeling when you go into a tournament and you're just like playing loose and having fun. Like you just don't feel any pressure. Like that's when Smite is so much fun because like that tournament we were basically a new roster. Like we were like 2 teams that meshed together because neither of us did well at the group stage. It was like Legions and Envy, and then like 3 of us left Envy to go to Allegiance. So we're like a 1 or 2 week old team, and we're just like we got nothing to lose, you know. Like might as well just like go play whatever and have fun. And that was such a fun tournament. Like just and back then, I feel like you were encouraged to trash talk like that because they had
Yeah.
the bleacher set up, you know. Like it was like you were performing. It was really fun.
I do think they wanted people to smack talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Scream at each other. Now that line was great though. I remember. Well, I think one rough thing was that some EU players had to fly home and then fly back.
Oh
I
my
think-
god.
Worlds.
No. From there was like the 2 plane lands, right? Or
Yeah, the group
Oh
stages.
yes,
Qualifiers.
yeah.
and I think Wolfie flew home for like 5 days or maybe a week.
Oh, that is
And
really rough,
And
actually.
then he flies back, and it takes like 2 days to fly home, and then you fly
Oh,
back in like
God.
3 days.
Yeah, that does not sound fun. I didn't even like hear of that. That makes sense. Oh, that's actually miserable. Like you're just jet lagged and so tired. I've never really traveled like internationally that much. Like recently, my brother's wedding was in Iceland. That was the first time I left the United States,
Where was
and
it?
like it was in Iceland. His
Oh.
yeah, his fiance, well, wife now, she did like an after grad program and stuff. So she did a bunch of like different like courses like across seas, and yeah, they just really liked Iceland, so they did it there. But it was so like I kind of took it for granted like how bad the travel was because like for me at least like I cannot sleep like sitting upright, like I just can't do it. And if you have like a day long flight and then you have to come play your best at a tournament, that's so difficult, I feel like.
I don't think traveling to America is that bothersome. I think when you go home, you're kind of fucked.
Why is
'Cause
that?
you-
Just because you lose the time?
You lose the time, and I guess I don't actually know. I usually don't feel that bad when I go there, but going home,
Interesting.
like maybe it's just the way it works, because the long flight is the last when you go to America, and when you go home, you get the long flight, and then I have to take like 2 more flights after my 9-hour flight. and then I'm just mentally gone.
Gotcha. Yeah, for
I
me,
don't
it
know.
was the other way around. It was just because, honestly, it was just because customs is was such a pain. Like, I hate customs so much. It just takes forever, and I just want to sleep. Like, once I'm at like hour like 8 on a flight, like I just want to land and like go to sleep. That's just how my brain
Yeah.
is.
I think at this point I'd probably find it kind of relaxing to fly. You kind of, I haven't flown in a very, I miss it. You can watch really bad movies that you would never watch otherwise.
Was that like your flight? Like that was your go-to on flights? Was just watch movies and stuff?
Yeah. Like you can get on the flight near like 8 hours and you can plan it out. And then you kind of just sleep, but you watch a little bit anyway.
Nice.
Flights are kind of good though.
So for season 3 Worlds, I remember that tournament was really interesting from my perspective, just because, like you had said, it was only you guys and Energy, right, that were the EU teams that had qualified, and I'm kind of curious on for the NA guys, we had kind of experienced like that invade meta a little bit earlier than you guys, because of course, like we scrimmed against like Eager, who started it. So we had a little bit more time like leading up to it to kind of understand, how they were playing or kind of why it worked. But for you guys, you didn't really start practicing the invade meta until prep leading up to Worlds, right? Like you didn't do it at regionals, I don't think.
No EU team did it at regionals. It was only Eager, and it just seemed didn't Eager like stomp
Yeah,
the
they
energy.
did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We also picked up Hazer. That was like, as honestly the most fun prep I've ever had, because we had to change everything, and we were only screaming energy because we weren't gonna face them until the finals anyway. And we kind of, I don't know if we really, like maybe we bounced some ideas with energy as well. Like I don't know if our start ended up being the same as everybody else's start though, because it wasn't the same as
It wasn't.
Eager as well.
I feel like you guys had one of the best strategies. We talked about it with Twig when he was on like a couple weeks ago, where Twig would have the Hand of the Gods as his relic, and then Variety would go TP, and then Variety would get like super fed every single game because every other solo laner had the Hand of the Gods, and then while the jungler had like a different relic, but Twig was the one who went hog. So then he was the one who just secured all the buffs, and then Variety would just he would TP back, and he would always be like 1 or 2 levels higher than the other soul laner.
Yeah, I think our start was not by far, but I think our start was the best start. I think we were just worse than energy, to be honest.
I think it was I agree with you. Like I think your guys'
so, yeah.
strategy was way like far superior than energy. Like the way you guys played was definitely the best, like strategically out of the entire tournament that year for sure. But then energy just played really, really good in the finals basically, and that's why they won. I feel like.
Yeah, were you on Eager, Aurora?
Yeah.
Season? Yeah.
You guys,
But
you guys, Fenrir Zeus comboed me in game 5 over and over again.
It was a Zeus Raw Poseidon thing going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like it was really fun, the whole practice thing, because I think we did so many kind of short scrims, and we did the whole Merc, like I don't know, like
Traveler
There's like
shoes.
Solario boost.
yeah, he went like
Yeah.
shoot straight away and just legged it in there. And we just tried a lot of different shit, and Energy tried a lot of different shit, and we could like it didn't really matter what we showed them. I feel like in that case, because we had to make it to finals anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And our strat was better, so I feel like at the end of the day we did okay though. Pretty fun that they did part of it though.
Yeah, I feel like that's it's always pretty impressive, like, and it definitely does make scrims really entertaining when you have to problem solve in a really short period of time, because especially back then, I think it would happen more, like, with the regions being separated, it was more likely that there'd be, like, a meta that you just hadn't seen yet, and you'd have to, like, think about, like, is it good? If it is good, like, how do we play it? Like, how do you, like, work around it, play against it, all that type of stuff, like, how can it fit our team? And I feel like that was a really unique thing back then, and I remember it going into that world just thinking like it's such a big advantage for Eager, in my opinion, or at least that's how I felt back then, because like when you're in that spot where you like start this meta that you know everybody is going to feel like they have to copy, like that's just like a crazy like almost like mental advantage because I don't know if you saw it this way, Aurora, but I know like I'm pretty sure the SOAR team in NA like they just hated it. Like they just hated the idea that they had to invade, and they just wanted nothing to do with it. And I feel like they're mentally like already at a disadvantage just because they don't like the meta.
Yeah, we always thought it was funny. Like, I feel like almost every team didn't want to do it, and they're like, "This is so stupid." And, like everybody thought it was bad. Like we did it at the group stage, and it went really well. No, everybody just ignored it, and they're like, "Oh, they cheesed, they won, whatever. It was not that good." And then we did it again at super regionals, and then everybody's like, "Oh, whoa, hold on a second, this is pretty good." And that, like you said, it was definitely an advantage because like we knew going to the finals, SOAR was gonna try to copy us. I remember we were talking about this last week, and then I was like, "Best, we're just gonna play Zeus Sylvanas. They're gonna try to run it in, and we're just gonna kill them if they try to copy us with this combo." And then that's how it went in the finals. It was great.
Does my microphone pick up more sound than it should? By the way,
No,
I think
you're
it might.
good.
Okay.
It does
Because
it does a little bit, but it's good right now.
Okay, it looks like it up you guys sometimes, which is kind of bad.
No, I think it's just Discord, or at least on my end. Like it'll like show that it like cues your mic, but you're good.
No, well, one of the most confusing moments in Smite though is when we played you guys Aurora, and like in the first game I was Poseidon. I remember that. And I was understanding. Okay, we had this very long prep, and we've only played like against Energy for like a month, and we all did the kind of same thing all the time. And then, like in the first game, you guys just legged it in between the towers and like standing there, like what the fuck? Use proxy, like the wave and take all our buffs. Oof.
Yeah,
It was really funny.
That start was so good for you guys. Ended up winning the game, which was crazy too. But the start was really good because I remember we took all your buffs, and then DJ was playing Kabrakan, and he literally walked over to duo lane and killed Ataraxia. I think he was playing Freya. I don't remember exactly. I think he was Freya.
Yeah, it's Freya versus Uber, right?
Yeah. But yeah, DJ walked there, he ganks him. We have that really good start. We get first blood, and then we just don't do anything. I think that's like the classic game. I remember, you know how you were talking about bad moments where like you remember them, and that's what you remember.
Yeah.
I till this day, I still remember. Oh my god, I hate it. So dude, Twig walked around the corner as Nike, and I'm playing Erlang, and you're playing Poseidon, and I should have taunted him because we were playing Anubis game 1, and like we practice it on streams, and it's like you think about it, like I didn't ult him because a Nike ult makes you CC immune, and Nike hasn't been out that long. And like I haven't played against it that much, so I didn't Erlang taunt him because I was like, he's just gonna ult it. But like I'm around the corner, so if I pre-ult the Erlang, or if I pre-ult his Erlang on the Nike, he's probably not gonna ult my ult from like on no vision. And then the combo was Erlang ult and a knockup with Anubis 3 and ult, and it like one shots basically anybody. And that was the first fight we did. I didn't ult Twig. He jumps away, you come in, and you just crack in best and one-shot him. It was like at speed buff, and we lost, and that was like the first fight, like after we got that first blood in duo, and we lost it really bad. I think you guys killed best, and then like another one of us died or something, and then you guys got a huge lead off it. And like that's a play that I think about all the time still till this day. And I'm like, why did I just not ult? Like what am I doing there? So bad.
I do remember the Goob. Maybe you guys played Goob another game too, but we won that one.
Yeah, we won.
Was that game 4 maybe?
It was game 3 or game 4. Yeah, we noob assaulted the Titan to win the game. I remember when all you guys were spawning.
Because you did the same start again when you were the Goob, right?
Yeah.
And I think I handled it like 10 times better the second time. Because the first time I like almost died and like, I don't even know what I did. But the second time I think we might have killed you off the start. I'm not sure.
Yeah, maybe.
At least I got you like low or something. I did something. The first time I was kind of standing there, not understanding anything.
One of my
you guys between the towers, you're saying like when they proxied.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stood there and like pulled them and slapped them a bunch. But you won that game though, and then we respect banned Anubis in the last game, I think.
Yeah, my proudest game, I think it was either game 3 or game 4. But I think that was game 3 actually, because game 4 I played Guan Yu and Frezzy was Odin. I remember the entire game. I think you guys had Odin. We were Yanis Guan, and I think you guys were Odin, either Odin Poseidon or Odin Zeus. I can't remember what comp you were exactly, but I remember you guys just tried to cage me the entire game as Guan, and I didn't let you guys cage me a single time. And I was like, I was feeling so good about that. That was like my best game ever that I played around at Odin. I remember. And then we lost in game 5, and you guys Fenrir Zeused us to the grave.
Yeah, I think I only played Raw, Zeus, and Poseidon, like the entire tournament.
There's
in the
something
finals,
about
basically.
old Zeus back then. Like he was just OP at every single Worlds. Like you could guarantee that Zeus was gonna pop up like season 2, 3, 4 Worlds. Like every
5.
single one of them.
Can't
Wasn't it
forget
free
about
when he just
Yeah,
gave him
5
the
too.
shield, right?
I think I
I
don't know what
think
year they changed it.
I can't
Season
remember if
3,
the
he
buzz.
definitely had. Season 3 was his current kit for sure. I think.
So season 2 maybe had the shield then still.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Okay. But you could. The Shane had such a long bounce range back then, but compared to now.
Yeah. It was also OP because I feel like the mid harpy corridors were a lot like more narrow back then. So if people were walking at you in mid as Zeus, like you couldn't miss them. Like they were just gonna get slammed by your combo. It was crazy.
Also, you always killed the tank if you comboed him back then. Like anything died that got comboed pretty much.
Oh, for sure. I wanted to ask you a little bit about um just sort of I guess that final set versus energy. I guess you guys kind of go into it as like underdogs. You kind of said earlier, like you just kind of feel like your strategy was better and they just ended up like playing better on the day, which I mean that just happens. I was kind of curious about the aftermath of that because I think Harry got a lot, or Variety got a lot of hype for like his own individual play, and then he left to go play with Dig, right? After
Yeah.
that, I was kind of curious, like, because that kind of happened to you guys in back-to-back years. Like, I don't want to skip ahead too much, but I feel like you guys consistently performed well towards the end of every single year and at Worlds. I mean, season 3, that's your second finals in 3 years, right? That you make at Worlds, and to lose Variety, and then you guys do really well in season 4 as well. And then I think Emilzy left for Energy, right?
Both of them. Nilsy and Maniac left for energy.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah.
Maniac was halfway through the year, right?
Oh yeah. Nilsy left after. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about your perspective, like when it came to those roster changes, because I feel like the core of your team at that point basically became you, Nate, and Twig. The three of you kind of stuck it together for 3 years there, and I'm kind of curious, like how those changes, went down, or just what your perspective was, because I feel like for me from the outside, it was always a little confusing because I feel like a lot of players were leaving your guys' team, but you were one of the teams like consistently winning the most. Like it's just kind of in hindsight. Like if energy didn't exist, a lot more teams would have won, but they just won everything for like 2 years.
True. Trying to think. I think Frezzy don't wanna like Frezzy had a bit of a rough finals.
Mhm.
I actually rewatched the games for not that long ago, and it didn't. I think he actually played it pretty well, but
Yeah,
it
I
was.
think so too. I did the same.
Have you rewatched it? I
Yeah,
remember
like
like
maybe a year or so ago. Yeah.
people were trash talking so much about it,
Mhm.
and I don't think he played very bad at all. Like in any of the games,
No,
I
he
think
didn't.
I think his comms completely died out. So that's like a thing.
Yeah.
Uh, I think the deal was kind of we were probably gonna replace Frezzy,
Hmm.
uh, kind of because of that, and then Variety. The way I remember was that he didn't want to play with Twig anymore because Twig had a little bit of a rough finals. So he he didn't want to leave play with Twig anymore, and I guess that's kind of it though. So he hopped off to you and the boys. Well, did he wear Dig down there? Right?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah.
yeah. Because I remember again, like it's just my perspective because I didn't, of course, get to play against the EU boys as often back then. But I feel like that was such a hyped, like, the phrase like the like super team stuff back then, like that dig team. It was like Variety, Tricks, Fred. I think it was Zeros and
Zeros, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Arkill, right?
Dig.
I think Zeros and
Yeah,
Arkill.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think maybe I could have, I could maybe have joined Dig as well. I'm not sure, but no, I was.
Did you ever consider leaving Nate over the years?
No.
Yeah, because
don't.
I feel like for my like it's just so interesting because roster changes are just one of those things where like I feel like in the moment the grass is always greener, like when you start entertaining other offers or like you think
100%.
about it, like the grass
100%.
it always sounds so much better than it actually is, and like I think back when I was younger, I definitely used to see it that way as well, where it's like it's kind of exciting to play with new people, but it just makes me think back then like the amount you guys went through so much change as a team for a team that was like always consistently placing like top 4, top 2 at Worlds. And like I said, like it's hard to put so much weight on like just winning Worlds, especially with energy back then. Like, I mean, they were just better than everybody, for a couple years. Like, they were just better. And it's really interesting because I feel like had you guys not had so much turnover, like had a Mulesy not left or had Variety not left, like you just never know what could have happened. Because I feel like you guys were always such good tournament performers, just like always.
We were, we were. I guess some of the teams. I think the season 3 team was only. I guess there was only the real team like halfway through, but we were. Maybe we saved all the roster changes for the important moments halfway through the season.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know, man. Like it stings a little bit, but people don't really like. People think they have a better shot somewhere else. It's all fine if you ask me.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a little bit about so after season 3 and going into season 4, that was the first tournament you guys won, right? You won spring finals. That was with Emilzy, I think.
Yeah.
But we won the EU Bad Boy season 1.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
But
And
yeah, we won
then
that one too.
yeah, because I think I know Twig is really like proud of it because I think back then that was like it was like the downfall of like energy or whatever. But I remember you guys used to have their number a good bit. I feel like when you got a Mulesy, I feel like you guys always played really well into that energy team. I feel like you kind of beat just. I mean, you were obviously just beating everybody because you won the tournament. But I feel like you guys started being very dominant in the regular season, which I don't know if it was necessarily like new for you, but that was one of the first splits I remember. Did you guys finish first in the split and also win the tournament? Do you remember?
Not actually sure. I think so. I think we were kind of, well, we were really good that entire year. I think.
Yeah, you were for sure. I don't remember if we played. Did we play 3 splits in season 4? I think we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because I think you guys also did.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh yeah. There was the summer
hmm
DreamHack one.
Oh, with Valencia.
Spain,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that plan we did that actually.
Yeah, me and Mike were actually looking at this the other day. We
Yeah.
thought we thought it was only because it was only was it what 2 NA teams or no
3,
three
I think.
three
Yeah,
it was
3.
3 NA teams and 4 EU teams and we thought it was 3 and 3 so we're like did Prime make it to that LAN or not? And then we looked and we're like yeah wait there was 4 EU teams and then there was one it was either Brazil or Latin. Was it Black Dragons that was the other team there? I think that was
It was Black
Brazil.
Dragons. Yeah, Brazil.
Please though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there, but that was a Swiftwing land though.
Nice. No, not nice.
No, but the first land was really nice because we beat Energy in the semis, I think.
Yeah.
And that was also that LAN, Morrigan just came out, and I was
She
the only
was-
one that played her.
Oh,
And it
she was so broken, man.
Thinking back, it was so criminal that nobody played her back then.
Dude, that was the Morgan. Like her stealth was more quiet than it is now, and it was also perma
Lasted
right?
longer.
Like,
yeah, if you had
Yeah.
max cooldown at the max
Yeah.
rank for stealth, you could permanently be in stealth if you wanted to.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
I think she even did like even more damage, and
hmm
I guess she didn't insta clear away, but she was still completely.
I remember. I don't know if you remember watching it, but like, I think it was the quarterfinals. It was Energy and Trifecta, I think is what I remember. And there was a game where Trifecta was kind of stomping them for like 30 minutes. And then there was one team fight. Yemen was playing Morgan, and it was like a fire giant like stall. You know, it was like a 5v5, like everyone's staring at each other. And Yemen literally stealth from like near his own speed buff, ran all the way up mid harpies around their speed buff behind their carries, and just one shot Whirlwind, and they just won the fight and won the game off of it. And I remember seeing that, and we were like my team was having like a roster change because that's when Chaos left from playing mid with our team to going to be a programmer at High Res. I remember seeing that, and my first thought was, whoever we get mid, they need to be able to play Morgan. Because that is so busted. It is the most OP thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, just perma stealth all the way around the whole map, and then you just one tap someone is so broken.
She was criminally good. And I know another thing we did at level is that Maniac, you fought like level 1 on the wave or something?
Yeah.
But Maniac always went around the wave and you slapped them about, and then he TP'd to his lane. So we always won mid in the start. Pretty nice. I think we defeated Harry.
Awesome gank.
Yeah, he awesome gank. He awesome ganked him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Do you remember this?
Awesome.
Brian.
Me, no.
Awesome Jake in ranked used to play Osiris, and he'd always do what Maniac did, and that's what we call it. At least in NA, we call it the awesome gank. If you
Yeah.
if you went into mid behind the mid laner, just started hitting him as a soul laner.
NA players like in scrims, we literally stole it from Jake because he would do it in ranked. He would just gank the mid laner every game, and people were just like, "Yeah, wait, this is actually good." And then people just started doing it all the time. It was so funny. I did that to you at finals, right? Or not finals, semis at Worlds. I kind of like I support ganked you in mid. Do you remember
Me?
that? Yeah,
We are Fafner.
yeah. I think I killed Twiggy, not you though.
That was the Chop games, right?
Yeah, it was chop.
They were all chop games. I do remember the dwarf. I might have died though, because it's like a bad memory. I don't remember much more though.
I actually wanted to ask you about the triple chop games, like how you guys felt about that at the time. 'Cause I think that's one of those things. Twig got a lot of crap from the fans, I think, for that.
It's I don't think it deserves much flag for it. It's just
Yeah,
I think I don't know what to do. Since I guess maybe since we thought we were so intelligent in season 3, maybe we were very stupid season 4 and 5. I think to some degree.
Season 5, I thought you guys were good, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we did kind of give up the push though, which was kind of our bread and butter. And like,
Yeah. That I wanted to ask you about that, like,
That's
actually,
so
in a little
funny you said
bit.
that. That's
Yes.
so funny you said that. Okay.
but well, like in season 4 anyway, like we had 2 starts. Like everybody was doing the normal start. You guys also did the normal start, right? Codename Dolphin.
Yeah, I remember Twiggy telling me about all the code names. What was Dolphin to you guys?
Dolphin was when it was something with solo pressure. You're solo laner 1 basically.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think nobody else really started like us that tournament because I think most teams still started duo, and it was like teams always put 2 people in duo, and then it was whether I think you guys had to start where you had 2 duo, 2 mid, and then you let Zalia just like be Sobek and like lose lane, or you had it where you would do 2 in solo, 2 in mid. Am I wrong on that? I don't remember entirely.
I don't remember exactly, but I know that if you started solo or Dolphin, I don't remember how the start was, but if we started Dolphin, we were supposed to win solo, And if you started Cobra, you could sacrifice solo, which was like the
Gotcha.
solo things, right?
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
guys like dominated solo every time, and
Yeah, because I think the way we played that tournament was we just thought
The
the solo
Cocolan.
side of the map. What's up?
The Cocolan.
Yeah, yeah. we had just decided the solo side of the map was worth way more, so we like. I remember we scrimmed a bunch against. I think they were still LG at the time, and those scrims like it was kind of how you described your season 3 scrims, like a lot of like early resets and a lot of like very short games because we were just trying to figure out what was best at the start, and we had come to the conclusion where I'm just gonna start alone every single game because I'm not doing anything. Like I was just like a random like level 1 like Fafnir or something, and most of the support gods like I mean, knowing what I know now, I probably could have played like Fenrir or Serket and like absolutely gunned it down for like some invades. But back then, like people were still playing like pretty traditional supports. And I remember like I would just start duo by myself and I would literally sit there and just watch the wave hit itself. I would do nothing. And we would start 2 hunters in mid and then like 2 warriors solo. And we would do like if we thought we had to, we would literally have our solo jungle go sprint and horrific just to like gun them down on wave 1 and just try to kill them. Like we would do some really crazy stuff, and then it got to the point where like we were scrimming against LG, and both Jeff and I were just watching. Like we were both just literally looking at each other, watch the wave die, and I was like, "This is a waste of my time. Like, why don't I just go gank mid?" And then we did it. Like I remember it was the day before Worlds because we didn't want to show it. We go into mid and I loop around. It was Baskin and Vera, and I like Fafnir stunned them and killed them. They instantly reset the scrim, and then we're like, okay, we'll just play the scrim again. Now they know what's happening. And then they 5-manned mid. They were so pissed. They 5-manned mid and killed us. And then we were like, okay, like we got everything we need, and then we like didn't do the start again against them. And I remember thinking like, yeah, when we go into Worlds, like people just they won't play around it because like when do you ever have your support start alone in duo and then like you had to be so specific about it. Like it was really annoying because if you try to like spot me, like let's say you knew I was there and you try to like go walk in the jungle and check like, oh, is like the support ganking us, we were happy with that because then you would just lose wave pressure because we would just clear out your tower line and then like go invade your stuff. So like you had to have your support realize that I was going to gank. He had to come watch me, ward me, and then like try to body block me off of like doing it. It was so stupid. Like those invade metas were so funny. But yeah, I actually remember playing against you guys and thinking like the Osiris jungle was. I don't think people realize it because they just watch it in game and they're like, "Oh, he's feeding. It must be horrible." But the Osiris jungle was actually kind of a problem for us because like Scream didn't play any junglers that won that like 1v1 pressure against the Chop Chop. So it was like if we didn't win the start, it was pretty dangerous, I think.
Was he like what did he play? He played Bastard.
Yeah, he played Basta. He played a little bit of like Nem and Fenrir, but I don't think they were as good early game then as they are now. Maybe Fenrir was, but Nem definitely wasn't.
Not compared to the old Chop Chop, to be fair.
Chop
Yeah,
Chop
that's
was
for sure.
undefeated in the early game for sure.
The thing with the Chop Chop thing though is that the Chop Chop thing leaned heavily into winning. Like if you won solo, you kinda won the jungle as well.
For sure, yeah.
If you won duo, you kinda only won duo.
Yeah.
So like having a Chop Chop that fell terribly far behind, and it's only really good in like he's excelled super hard in the starter list. Like it didn't really make sense. And I think the sad part is that we didn't change anything in 3 games, right? We just kept on doing the exact same thing.
I think
chopping.
Your game 1 draft was actually really scary for us because I remember going into playing you guys. We were talking about health support, and I thought it was good and wanted to like either play it or consider banning it. And the rest of my team, they weren't really like that sold on it. And you guys had picked Osiris, and then you picked Hell, and I was like, oh crap! Like they know we want to play for pressure. They have like a ton of pressure. And then Zelia locked Sobek, and like we all like just let out a deep breath, and we're like, okay, we're good. we're not getting snowballed on. We're fine. And then I think that was just the infamous the Benji Kakalin set for sure.
Yeah, it was a bit. He did get he was popping, but he also like got it a little bit handed to him. Like he got a pretty good
Yeah.
start in all the games.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, he was just ahead. Like I think I watched him back at some point, maybe a couple years ago, and like he was just up like 2 or 3 levels, and he hadn't like they didn't really do anything. Like they didn't win a fight. They were just Zalea was just kind of like giving up his blues because he's a Sobek. Like what's he gonna do? So yeah.
Sela used to play a lot of Kukulin before as well, but I don't think he like stopped leading into Worlds. Something I don't.
Yeah,
Maybe
I remember talking to Twig about that. I think you guys were like the only team that really played Kakalin a lot in
Yeah.
EU. I remember Zalea playing really well on it, actually. Yeah, we were a bit confused by it as well.
I think he played it a lot before everybody else started playing it, and then he kind of fell off a little bit.
I feel like it's one of those gods. Honestly, maybe it's not even a god thing. Did you have teammates who were like this? Maybe not just Zalea, where it's like they have a pick that's going really well for them, and then they lose on it like maybe once or twice, and they're like, it's just not good anymore. Like I can't play it anymore.
Yeah, I think Rep was like that. Maybe the first jungler.
Mm-hmm.
He was a bit of a mind shade. Twig isn't. Twig runs it down over and over again.
Oh yeah, he does not.
That's the way. That's the way to do it, though.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, true. But yeah, that's when Maniac. But Maniac left before that. And then
Yeah, he left after Valencia, I think, right?
Yeah, we did. We went like first rounded in Valencia, and he went to Energy, and then Emilsi went to Energy as well.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was pretty funny because Nilser was very salty at Maniac when he went to Energy, and then Nilser went to Energy.
Classic.
I did judge him a little bit on that one. I gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did you get? It was Raf that you got, right? Was it Raf and
Raf and
oh, you saw Azalea, right? For
Yeah.
season 5.
Oh yeah,
Raf
but
and Azalea. Yeah, Raf and Azalea.
The last thing I wanted to ask you was about season 5 Worlds. Why did you guys not prioritize the Poash and the Zeus? Like we thought you guys like. I remember we did so much prep that year, like in every set that we played, and I remember we did so much prep, like going into that set, that you guys were gonna prioritize like high prior Zeus and Poash, and then you guys just didn't prioritize it. And we're like, nice, we got it. What made you guys like not want to play it in the final? I remember you played Disco, and you had some insane Disco ults. Like I remember me and Mike were actually looking back at the game yesterday a little bit when we were preparing for this.
4-man Disco ult.
You got a 4-man Disco ult at Gold and like completely owned us. But what made you not play Poash?
Okay. Well, first of all, the Disco thing. Mm-hmm. I remember that game because it's like my last. It's not my last line. I had one more later.
I think it is, right? Because that was
I had an SOC LAN.
Okay, gotcha.
That was my last it was my last Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But I've played. I was kind of choking because I missed so many apples, but the bounces were so ridiculously lucky, like 6 times. I was like, you just whiff it and it just comes back, and you're like, whoa. But on the push thing, I don't really know because I only played push and Zeus. That was like all I did the entire. Because Spear of the Magus was still busted, I think.
It was Shaman's Ring, I think, for a little bit, and then did they switch it to Spear of the Magus?
It was all of them.
Yeah,
it was Shaman's Ring. Well, it was
it was both, I think, right?
Damage, right?
Yeah, it was Spear of the Magus was the flat pen shred, and then it was Shaman's Ring, and Soul Reaver was also broken.
Reaver was ridiculous.
Yeah, Reaver is so OP.
I think. Well, the thing is, I thought the Shong was pretty good into push and Zeus, which was like a bit. Because if I played against a Shong, I would probably like to play push or Zeus. Mm-hmm. But it was Shong, I think, made sense on paper because, you could blink in and like suicide the guy and he will probably die. And I don't think you guys would probably not have given us Pooch. Like you guys were, I don't know. But honestly, we shouldn't have given it in hindsight. But the Shong was supposed to shut it down. I think the Shong could have worked, and the Disco was more. Disco was because Stivius did the weird ass start, right?
Yeah, we did the triple duo start. Yeah, and game 1 we lost 3v2. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, like Raph. Yeah. Was Raph fun in that game?
Yeah, Raph was fun.
He was putting on a kick.
Yeah.
But the second game was we never played against it before. It was like we played Disco. If they do the same thing, we can kind of shit on them. Or Celia could snowball Defender out of control in solo because he got like 2-3 levels automatically over Divios, but it didn't really matter because Divios was a Geb, right?
That was when Zalia cowabunga'd into the tower where he just Fenrir jumped, and then he got
He got
Geb
Fenrir
ulted. Yeah.
He tried to Fenrir a 100% Geb under tower.
He literally
of a
said
rough
cowabunga and jumped into the tower.
That was when the game felt a little bit rough when like our 3 levels ahead Fenrir died in the tower. It was but we got fire in. Did we get fire in both games? It was kind of even, right?
Yeah, I think game 1 you guys had a huge lead on us at one point. I think you did get fire, and then game 2 was game 2 the disco game, or was game 1 the disco?
Yeah. Game 1, game 2 was disco game.
Yeah, because
fire in that.
Yeah, so game 2, what happened was we had a huge lead because we did the same start on dual lane again, and it went well this time because we had better gods for it, and we got the purple buff. We got a huge lead. We ganked Raffer really early on. He died. We had like this huge gold lead, and we're doing really well. And then we pulled gold in front of you guys, like it was in the middle of the game, and we still had a pretty big gold lead. And then that's when you guys stole gold, and that's when you hit your 4-man disco ult. You stole gold and wiped all of us. You got gold, killed all of us, and then got fire, like back to back to back. And then we had such a big lead that the game was just even after you got fire. So it was like you guys kind of reset the game basically after that.
Yeah, I think we got like picked off and lost kind of sadly after that, though, right?
Yeah.
No.
I think so. I think it was in solo lane you guys fought us or something, and we ended up winning a fight or something like that. No, wait. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, I think we just waited out your guys' fire. I think you guys got a couple towers maybe, or I don't remember, to be honest, all the way.
I remember the first game. I went like Book of Tough. I had a Book of Tough into like a Magus, right? Yeah. And I'm like telling myself, be calm. And I have like 72 stacks in my Book of Tough, and I think it was actually important to stack it back then. It was like 3 to 10%, maybe.
Yeah.
And but then I see like Mosswell, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
He played Hebo before that. That's when I thought we were gonna win because I saw him play Hebo the set before. He played Hebo the set before, and he beat something he shouldn't have beat. So I was very high on my horses. But no, but I got Blink, and he was like level 11. It was next to Gold Fury. Sino did this twice, and it's one of those sad moments that you remember. I like insta Blink on him, and I just ult him, and then I don't beat an air shot, and then the exact same thing happens, like behind the fire giant, when I could use the pre-beats it, and I would probably have won the game on the Blinking.
You got Najjalted out of your jungle.
Yeah. He did it behind fire, which was probably even bigger than the first one.
Yeah.
But I was actually kind of, what do you say? It's like the LAN I felt the most pressure on myself ever, because I knew it was going to be the last I ever played, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is now, or you're not going to make it. And I was so stressed out.
Yeah, it's so hard.
That was rough. Like compared to the first time, I've never felt any pressure before. But when I knew like this is what's gonna be it, probably, I was so pressured.
Yeah, I feel like that's just natural. It's hard not to feel that, because it just carries more weight than it would have. Do you have time before your wedding, or how much time do you have?
A little bit more time. Why? What's up?
I wanted to ask you, Prime, just I guess last thing before it has to go, about kind of just the end of season 5 was pretty crazy for you, because I think you guys had a pretty up and down year, and then I think towards the end of the split you guys started to figure it out. That was like the whole Poistus thing, as you said, and then you find out that like your daughter is going to be, was her due date, it was aligned with Worlds, right? Like you thought you weren't going to be able to travel for Worlds, so the team played with, it was Filippo, right?
Yeah, Filippo.
Yeah,
they had I was gonna, well, we got the news like earlier in the summer that we're gonna have a baby, and the due date was pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
But they were gonna play with Filippo. We had a boot camp here though, where I was playing, but I played like half of it, and Filippo played like half of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then they went to LAN. When everybody went to LAN, I stayed home for like 5 more days. I don't know how it took so long, to be fair. Trying to think. Because usually you play kind of straight away after you go to LAN, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was home for a while, and we got our beautiful daughter. Mainly, 100% thanks to Irina, to be fair. And then I was home until Irina came home because she was at the hospital for a while. This is not a country where I get to be at the hospital, so I was kind of sitting at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of days after Freya was born, maybe 3 days, I went to LAN, which it was kind of it does. Hindsight, like, oh, we did like to go, but in hindsight, it felt kind of douchey.
To
I
Felipe,
think-
you were saying.
No, to Irina, to leave her.
I was gonna say.
Not to Flip, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't think you're team-minded at all.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm sure that was so stressful for both of you. Like that's a lot going on around the birth of your child. That's so cool. I mean, well, it's cool and like it's awesome to obviously like have that all go well, but I'm sure it was a stressful period.
Yeah. Because the LAN was pretty long, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were there for like 2-3 weeks or something, right?
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird, and yeah. The
But at least
the birthing wasn't completely problem free either, so it was a bit.
Do you remember I think this is the last thing I have, Aurora, sorry. Do you remember after, because I lost in the quarterfinals as well. Do you remember the night after we both lost? Because I think it was me, you, it was pretty much all of us, like everyone that had lost. I think we all went to like a bar together, and we were all just hanging out. And then I think it was me, you, and Twig, because I knew that my team, like a lot of them were still like Scream was still in high school. He had to like graduate high school, and like we knew we had to like move to LAN and stuff. So I had wanted to play with Twig, and I remember talking to the two of you, and I don't mean to make you sad, but the only reason I bring it up is because you made me think about it with like the stress of Worlds. I remember you feeling like a little down that you hadn't won. And I remember saying this to you, and I still believe this. Like, I'll always believe this, but like, it always made me feel bad when people put so much pressure on like just Worlds. Because, like, obviously, it's what, like, you want to win Worlds for sure. But at the end of the day, like, it is only one tournament, like, of your career, you know? Like, it's one weekend of like a year long season. And I remember saying this to you, and I guess I'll just share it publicly because I kind of think like it applies to a lot of players too. Like it's so hard to put that much stress on yourself because like at the end of the day, like nobody would ever look back at your career and like not think you were like insanely successful or that you like I mean realistically like you did change a lot of stuff. Like you were I feel like you were one of the original like that like archetype of mage players to be like the Zeus, Poash, like the Vulcan. You were like the like follow up like mage one tap like type of guy, I feel like, and you were always very consistent at it. And your guys' teams always did so well. And I just remember thinking like it was like such a bittersweet moment, I think, for me at least, because I think like it was like a sad like realization that you probably weren't going to be able to keep playing the SPL, but it was also like in some ways it's also really cool that you have like this whole like body of work and like you guys I think every year you guys played at Worlds, you lost to the team who eventually won, right? You lost in the finals twice, and then you lost to both of us, and both of us won right after.
Yeah.
And it's like it doesn't get much closer than that, you know. Like you guys were so good for so long, and I feel like those type of stories don't really get appreciated that much, you know. But I feel like from the pro players, you guys were always very, very respected for sure.
Yeah, we were. It's hard though, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to drag you down.
It's not because you guys can say this because you guys won. I feel like.
No, maybe I thought it
That's-
before. I thought it beforehand too, though, because I remember Tricks used to always make me sad because like I think back then
they had really bad labs, right?
Yeah, they did. I remember Trix would always look so sad, and it just made me feel. I'm like, dude, if you're Trix, like Trix never had a losing split. I don't think his whole career. Like he was always like one of the top teams in EU, and like you can say whatever about the tournaments, but like Trix was really good his whole career, and it's just so hard, man.
It's
It's not
funny when he
easy.
played. Funny when he played. What is it? I don't know. It's called SOC, SEC,
Yeah.
like the EU one.
Yeah,
And he's like, I guess he stopped this year, but every other year since he started, he's like been winning. He's been on the number one seed maybe every split. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Almost.
think so. At least top 2 from my
Yeah.
knowledge.
yeah. Sometimes I would just tune into some random like EU SEC games that are like normally like either right before we play or right before we're scrimming. Without fail, you tune in. It's Trix Tank on Sobek, and he's just montaging people.
But
Yeah, I feel like. What? Sorry.
one thing I want to say about the whole winning thing, like for me, like season 3 I didn't win worlds, like season 1 and 2 I didn't even qualify, which I wish I did, but like part of winning, like Twig, I feel like Twig's like a prime example, like part of winning is losing, like you don't win everything.
Yeah.
If like you put yourself in competition, like you're not going to win everything. And the only way to get better is to lose. And I feel like if you stick with it long enough, there's always a shot. You might not get to it, but like you at least have a shot, I feel like. And like these past 2 years I've lost in the finals, and Mike's lost in the finals as well, a couple times as well, and it definitely sucks, but it's what keeps you going, and like it makes you want to get better, so yeah.
Yeah, it really ain't that bad. It's actually pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah.
That was a good Smite. But that was the same talk you had. That was when you were gonna. You asked me about Twig as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you were gonna pick up Twig, I think.
Yeah. I think I asked you if I forget what I asked you about him, but I always just remember having a lot of respect for your guys' teams in general, and just I feel like you guys just were such a mature team, and like you were just very professional. I feel like you all were very like good teammates. Like there was never really maybe you don't see yourselves as professional. Is that why you're laughing?
No, we were pretty good.
Yeah, I just feel like you guys were so good at like that side of stuff, and I just think like you guys were always one of the teams that I respected most for sure.
It was something when like season 5. Okay, we did. There was changes, roster swaps again, and that's when we were. Then Dig asked us to join them, like me and Nate, and we would kick Twig. And Twig was like, we were very open about everything, and he was like, "You guys should probably join them. Like, you could ditch me, like, because we couldn't find a support otherwise, which was a problem."
Mm-hmm.
And Raf wanted somebody else. I guess maybe Raf wanted Funball, and we didn't. I didn't bunch on Nate, so we kept Nate. Yeah, I ended up good at it, but I remember that. Because he was very open with if it's gonna stink. Otherwise, use dip on. Like we can use ditch it.
Yeah. Where can everybody find you? I know you still stream Smite.
Hey?
Yeah, every once in a while. Yeah, but do you want to
Oh.
plug anything? Your Twitch. If you want to find his
my
Twitch, it's in the
Twitch?
title.
What?
But the Twitch is in the title. If you click there's like a link in the title of my stream. If you click it, it should bring you to your Twitch. And then what's your Twitch as well? It's PrettyPrime _ or no, it's just PrettyPrime. And then your Twitter is PrettyPrime _GG, right?
You seem to be on top of this, Aurora. I'm gonna be honest. I think you are correct. The Twitch is correct.
Nice.
PrettyPrime _GG is my Twitter.
Sweet. Is there anything else that you have cooking up that you want to plug or no?
Now that I plugged my stream, I'm gonna go to Sweden in like a week. So it's taking. That's pretty much it.
Nice.
I haven't been there in forever, so it's gonna be nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Hopefully you enjoy your time.
Yeah.
Thanks
Same
for
guys.
coming on. And then Mike, you could tell everybody where to find us at.
Yeah, no, thanks again. We appreciate your time, Prime. It was cool to talk. And then yeah, for everyone else watching, we'll see you next week. It'll be back to a little bit of a later episode, I think, and it'll be here on Aurora's Twitch. It'll be on my YouTube. The VOD is at PBM Smite on YouTube, and then Inside the SPL on Spotify. And just one last note to that. while we're not in studio, they're like we're trying to figure out the online side of everything. So if the VODs take a little bit longer than normal to get up, just you guys can just shoot me a message on Twitter or something, or let me know. But yeah, we're trying to do the best we can for sure. But we appreciate everybody watching.
Yep. All right. Thanks so much again.
One if I'm trolling from Professor BM. You can hear the audience. I wonder if there's a favorite.